Right, and we are going live on time, believe it or not. Good morning, everybody. Just pop out the chat here. And in the spirit of Frost Giants, it would be a healthy good morgen. Good morgen. Oh, I'm wearing a lab coat today because I'm looking forward to samples arriving for the Kickstarter, which I get to start doing my crazy lab tests on to test out the products. Is everybody receiving me? Am I coming through loud and clear? It says we've got 4 viewers. Oh well, that's a streaming scheduling fail. People starting to pop in. Why is the chat not updating? Hello? Hello? Hey Grant. Hey Ed. Hey Topan. New folks, how's it going? Hey Gerald. For everybody new to this stream, it's a very interactive experience. And basically, without you talking, I got nothing to talk about. Hi, Macho. Apart from this, finally updating the Giants series. This is the script for the Frost Giants, which I'm about to record today. I've got my research material sitting around on my desk here. The Great Glacier is a great one. And of course, you can't go past Giant Craft. Fantastic resources. I tend to I over rely on Giant Craft a bit because it's an old edition thing. So there's been some updates, particularly with like the sizes and stuff of Giants. And hey everybody. Oh, Tia Lisa, you made it. Nice. Glad to see you haven't had a power cut yet. Stay frosty. Thanks. The weights, particularly for monsters and giants in particular, have long been a source of contention. Like a giant is listed as like something like 3,000 pounds or something. It's more like at least 5,000 pounds should be the weight of an average giant. When you think about an African elephant, for instance, when they stand on their hind legs, they're about 20 feet tall. So when you think about a 23-foot tall, heavily muscled frost giant, they should be in the order of about 3 to 5 tons worth of like bulk, because it increases at a much greater rate when you get to that sort of size, because of the just the square footage mass of flesh and bone involved. So yeah, a giant is actually like several tons worth of warrior coming at you, not just like 3,000 pounds. I know 3,000 pounds is like a ton and a bit, but I'm talking like 3 to 5 tons. Anyway, hopefully the power doesn't go out. Hey Brian, I'm good, thank you. Hey Corey, words hard. Ukatoa, that's a cool name. Ite, how's it going? You're in the middle of a Passover dinner. Oh, nice. Happy celebrations. Adrianeth? None, nice to see you. Jeremy? Mr. Nuke, nice to see you. Vincent? Yeah, nice to see you, Vincent. Damon Spector, hello from Canada. Playing a session for the first time in months tomorrow, and I'm stoked. Oh, that's awesome. How's the weather in Canada? What's with the hospital jacket? This is my lab coat, man. So I used to work in a lab before I quit working there to become a YouTuber full time, much to the concern of my friends and family. But it turned out to worked out okay. So I've never actually. Oh, well, actually, okay, yeah, I have worked in a hospital before, but that was just like as a stock delivery person, and it was a terrible job. No, this is specifically bought for lab testing my Kickstarter products that are going to be winging their way to be over from China. I've already got a couple of the sample pieces. This is the finished sample of the generic character sheet, wet dry erased character sheet. So what I'm basically going to be doing is testing these to the point of destruction. I've got the big game mats, which have got grids and hex squares and stuff, which are coming over, and I'm going to be testing those out and filming the results of me hitting them with like flamethrowers and driving cars over top of them and cooking pizzas on top of them, that sort of thing, like crazy stuff. Yeah. But everything's in full swing, so the samples have been produced. I've got like videos of the factory working on them and stuff like that. That's great, and it's good that I'm getting most of this done before the Kickstarter, where normally it would be done as orders come in for the Kickstarter. But with producing a brand new product like this, I wanted to get the technical side of it and the design side of it out of the way, because the manufacturing side of it is going to take a long time, because the factories are going to be doing runs of like 2,000 and it takes them like months to get them done. So they're going to have to buy in new machines just to cover the order, hopefully. Anyway, that's what the lab coat is for. Plus, it's actually quite comfortable. Hey, thanks, Robert. AJ was thinking about Zugtmoy and her domain over fungus, and I suddenly realised demonic yeast, evil bread and booze. Yeah, totally. Yep, absolutely. You can have abyssal booze. Think about it. Think about the horror. I would take inspiration. Hey, thanks, Ed. I would take inspiration from Dan Ablett, the Warhammer 40k writer, where he had shards of a window where a demonic incursion happened inside this church or cathedral, and the stained glass windows actually absorbed some of the chaos energy, and people became addicted to buying shards of that glass and looking through it, because that chaos energy would give them a psychic flash for a second as they looked into it before the crystal, basically the glass, lost its potency. And it would corrupt them slowly but surely, and they became addicted to it. This is mainly because like the hive city that they were working and living in was a dystopian nightmare with like acid rain and things like that. It was real miserable, and so it was the drug of choice, you know. But of course, when the Inquisition turns up and to deal with things, they realise that the taint of chaos is actually really, really pervasive and bad. And yeah, so that's the sort of thing you can do with demonic booze, where people become addicted to the additional supernatural effect of such a thing. In the case of Zugtmoy, it would of course be hallucinations and dreams of a different world, like a better world that they're building by growing fungus, demonic fungus and stuff. So they'd be brewing, like making their own kombucha and all sorts of weird stuff. You go inside some peasant's house and it would be like full of mimics or something, or crazy demonic myconids. You need Insano goggles, yeah, I suppose so. Videos of me destroying stuff, kinda. It's Professor Pickett, thank you. Creation and Teleport equals nuke. Yeah, I suppose it would, Jeremy. Hey, thanks, Comic Nut. Hey, Scorch. Dan Abnett. He's a writer. Hey, AJ, can you give my girlfriend a shout out? It's our 1 year anniversary. That's great, Comic Nut. What's her name? Shout out to Comic Nut's girlfriend. Happy anniversary. Dan Abnett is a very good writer. Gaunt's Ghosts is the series of his that I read first, and I think it's probably one of his best. And then Eisenhorn. And the Commissar. Okay, I've forgotten his name. The Commissar series. Hey, Mr. Al. A window pane, an intense and fleeting high, yeah. Yep, I've played. Hey Nick, I've played a few of the Warhammer tabletop RPGs. One thing I want is the Only War one, which is the Imperial Guard RPG. I've got Death Watch. That's my personal baby. I probably will pick up Rogue Trader and Dark Inquisition or Dark Heresy. They're all good. They're all really good. Like anything, it's who you're playing with and who your DM is and stuff. And I do recommend reading through those rule books because they're entertaining to read, and the material is pretty dense. But the combat system and stuff is actually, once you get into it, it's fairly simple and fluid. Fleeting? Mine lasted. Nice. Joe Rogan confirmed as a priest of Zug Lady. Yeah, that's right. He's into his mushrooms. Demonic Myconid sounds like my sister. Nice. It's Felicia. Felicia, happy anniversary. Nice. Roll for Initiative Comic Nut, you've got some loving coming your way. Adriana, thank you. Got a question for you, Professor. If redcaps are considered fey, how does the iron boots come into play with their weakness to iron? Very good question. I guess things in the Feywild don't always follow the rules. Because it's part of their story, they would be immune to it. Or perhaps it's, I don't know, perhaps it's an attempt by them to keep themselves under control with a constant source of pain and torment. Yeah, but they are essentially gnomes or dwarves, so perhaps they're not as vulnerable to that as other Fey races are. Will I test again? Thanks, Moonring. Will I test against Ixid Chittle attacks? I suppose no. There's no practical way I can do that, unfortunately, without confirming that I can actually cross over between worlds, and I just can't do that. Hello, Justin Eclipse. Welcome. I'm new. What do you think of the Owl Folk? Interesting. I mean, of all of the Fey races there, I'm probably happiest that they came up with something new, honestly. Their attempt at fairies and hobgoblins were a roaring disaster. Particularly the hobgoblins, I'm just like, what? Like, why hobgoblins? I mean, the hobgoblins are the original goblin stock, right? They're high goblins if you go to Greyhawk. And I suppose Eberron as well. So yeah, but no, I would have been more comfortable with them doing a sort of a Nilbolg or something like that, some sort of crazy fey goblin, like a story goblin, like a Rumpelstiltskin type thing. But yeah, the whole noses changing color with their emotions is like, you're just trying to basically, I don't know, personalize goblins in a way that they just aren't in the story and folk tales. Goblins are evil shits in most goblin literature, and I know people want to turn them into their cutesy little pals and stuff, but really they should only be cutesy little pals while they're in the process of betraying you, because in the background they're like drinking rat piss and stuff like that. They're nasty creatures. They're not only the survivors in the shadows and the worst places of the world where they've scuttled to, where their evil can fester, but they're comfortable with that. Like wherever they go, they'll bring the horrible little survivalist streak to them. Like they will make a beeline for the worst things to eat, the scraps and the waste and that sort of stuff. They're gonna, if they visit your house, they will kidnap your cat and eat it. You could offer them great like fried chicken and stuff, but they will steal your pets and kill them because that's what they're used to. Hey Mason, thank you. I'm about to run a Warhammer campaign. Do you have any suggestions? We have a Road Trader, Black Templar, Scout Marine, Sister Hospitaller, and Psyker. You've got a Black Templar Scout Marine with you? Wow. So he hasn't got his has he got his carapace yet? He wouldn't have. Okay. So how far through the process is he? And a Black Templar. Holy shit, man. That's some that's some hardcore fanaticism. Nice. Okay. I suppose. I mean, I just recently played the Inquisitor PS4 game, and the Marine the Space Marine that ends up on your crew is constantly like, "Let's go in there and kill everybody." Yeah. Sister Hospitaller. Wow. And a Psyker. Well, the Psyker is always fun because, yeah, you've got to give the Psyker the opportunity to, like, self-destruct. Why else would you play a Psyker? They've always got to be borderline, like, too far gone. But, yeah, I would just let those characters just do their thing, man, honestly. Just follow their lead. Yeah. What's some of the best Warhammer campaign stuff I've seen? Gene Stealers is always fun, but I like just like the threat of chaos is lurking in the background, and mainly it's like human drama. So it's governors and corruption and that sort of thing. Ancient artifacts are always really good, and dealing with the Tower really cool as well, because they're kind of like tragic villains. Like they want to be good, but they are actually run by a very, very corrupt and manipulative aircast. Specifically sanctioned Psyker. Yeah. Not a dog. Yeah, it's whitewashing of its and it's crap. Yeah, I believe that's entirely true. Yeah, the wee free men from Terry Pratchett's Discworld are cool Fey goblins. Yeah, I'd agree. If it ain't got blue skin, it's not a Feywild goblin. They've got to be green, right? Not yellow. Yeah, obviously that. Yeah, I would have them like press ganged by an Inquisitor for sure. What do you think the Fey human variant would look like? Oh shit, that's a good question. Wow, what does a naturalized human in the Feywild look like? Probably like a stoner, right? They'd be tied into the story. They'd be like quite easily. Like I always depict humans as quite easy to mind control. They sort of strike me as that in literature and stuff. So the humans would be the willful going along, could turn dangerous at any moment, like crazy adapted to the Feywild sort of people. Yeah. You traded your soul for elf pogs. Pogs? Man, that dates us. Not yet. He has all the organs but not the carapace. Ah, okay. Aren't Black Templar scouts called squires? Yeah, but it's easier to explain to somebody immediately what they are rather than calling them squires, because it's not obvious to somebody who's not fully into Black Templar lore. Yes, owl folk should be able to turn their heads 360 degrees, Justin. I totally agree. Thoughts on Inquisitor subclass? What, for D&D? I'm all for it. Warhammer Fantasy runs a pretty good Inquisitor subclass. Witchfinders should be definitely a part of D&D for sure, because there's so many cultists, right? Witchfinders make perfect sense. Perfect sense. Essentially, you could have an abjuration specialist wizard, who deals with like anti-necromancy and anti-summoners and anti-diabolists. So that would definitely be a thing. They'd be on the trail of sorcerers and warlocks in particular all the time. They'd just be sniffing out warlocks everywhere. Because warlocks are as close as you're going to get to the witchy poo character, like the evil witchy poo type character. Hags, of course, are the supernatural variant on the evil sort of witch character as well. But as long as they're not like, burning housewives who practice homeopathy at the stake, it's probably okay in your game. Just like lay down some ground rules at the start of it, like you're not the Spanish Inquisition, man. You're an actual inquisitor who's out looking for actual supernatural horrors. You're not suspecting everybody who casts spells, because that is just unrealistic. Thanks, D-Buy. Ran my first foray into 5th edition last Saturday, and it was a blast for all involved. Question: would role-playing a young female red dragon as a psychotic valley girl be as funny as I think? Yes, it would. Absolutely. The problem with that is if that particular character doesn't end up being popular in the group, like if it's a player character, and they're not the sort of person that just will retire a character out of game and come up with a new character. If they insist on getting their character killed in game, you should always be very wary of that with players at the table, because they will drag everybody else into situations that they didn't want to roleplay in. Like they feel obligated to not split the party and support the party and stuff, despite all logic that would tell them that their characters would not stay involved with that individual. Like, that individual is obviously crazy, so they would just let them toddle off into the wilderness and get mangled by a manticore somewhere. It's perfectly okay for the other characters in the party to not have anything to do with a player character that's gone crazy and is trying to get them killed. They're not psychologists, they're survivalists. So yeah. The difference would be if they've got a character who's been inflicted with some sort of madness or something like that, then they know the origin of this thing. But if they can't see a way out of the situation, and the character is definitely going to get them killed for no profit whatsoever, then yeah, Alpha's back in Pog form. Call the wee free men goblins to their face. I dare you. I dare you. Thinking Radagast from The Hobbit as a natural fey human. Yeah, I suppose he's a druid. Hey, Moonring. Hey, since most cities have a fey counterpoint, what would Feywild Deeper Masker look like? Deeper Masker is not located on the prime material plane. It's in a demi-plane, probably in the ethereal realm. Yeah, dude, Feywild's totally rad. AJ, what are you and Mr. Rex going to... When are we going to sit down and play a D&D game for charity with Gary Gygax's skull being used as a dice cup? I don't know if Mr. Rex has actually sat down and played a D&D game like that. I think he's played like online games. I don't know if he's actually sat down at a table with books and dice and stuff. Hey, Mark R. Doesn't witch hunting fall under the role of paladins? It can, but only if they're like the enemy of the faith sort of thing. Paladins, they quite often get involved in protecting nobility and the status quo of society, and they, like militant paladins, for instance, will be on the side of the church as state sort of thing. And you got to take a realistic look at religions in the history of, like, medieval times and things like that, where they were the authority. Like, there was the kingdom, and then there was the church, and the church sort of endured as the civil service sort of thing, right? The church as the civil service of the monarchy. So they're like the militant arm of the civil service. So paladins could almost be like special agents, like Texas Rangers, that sort of thing. What if the Flat Earthers actually was just a cult of Thune? I'm actually catching up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I finally got to like season 5. And Flat Earthers, man. Hey, Emiliano. Summer place in the Feywild, a cabin in a treant, a mobile home. I like it. Yeah, but Inquisitors will get corrupted by power and righteousness, and that's where the spectacle starts. You're right, Mr. L. Yep. Power corrupts. Cult of Flat Thune. Recently thought of something. Are there any races or monsters that can roll into a ball and steamroll other creatures or bounce around? Honestly, sounds like fun. You could run Boule like that. That's essentially how they were originally intended, was to charge at the characters down a corridor. Particularly characters that are taking too long at like searching for traps and things. The Boule will just charge them. So it is kind of like a monstrous armadillo when you think about it. It's hard, but sometimes you have to say, look, you're railroading the party. Yeah, not only DMs can railroad the party, players can too. Players can railroad the party. That's perfectly sums it up. Thank you, Rhetoric. Scribbins. Hey, Sir William. Hey, Chadwick. I do work hard, it's true. I take supplements for my brain. I have a load of pills next to me for keeping my brain in working condition. What about Tom Bombadil's a Fey Human? I honestly don't even remember Tom Bombadil. It's been a while since I've read the book. Tumbler Gnomes. Battle Rager Dwarves are a pretty good option for a battle armadillo. Hey, DeForest. Tom Bombadil is about as far from human as you can get. So I did get a life cleric ask for Pazuzu's help. Oh, nice, Alex. Green dragons would absolutely hunt and kill Fae, for sure. Hey, Buried Axeblade. Lone Shark, Cult of Pazuzu. What if Fey humans are like regular humans except with cat ears? Oh, don't encourage them, Moonring. Any books that you know have a good description of the border cities in the Outlands? There's actually the book, the supplement on the Outlands. There is a supplement on the Outlands from Planescape, and it's mostly dealing with the border towns. In fact, that's pretty much the entirety of the book. Doesn't even mention the Rilmani. Doesn't even like it's got a mention of Sigil. And the Spire, but it really just talks about the border towns. So that is the go-to resource of choice. I'm perfectly okay though with the border towns being slightly different every time you visit them. Like they're in a state of flux, right? So whatever is happening in that plane that they're associated with really reflects heavily on what's going on in the border towns. An ebb and flow of cross-planar energies. What is the Feywild version of Neverwinter? The Shadowfell has a version of Neverwinter named Evernight. Yeah, I don't know. Remember that was the site of I think Waterdeep? Was it Waterdeep or was it Luskan? Luskan was Luskan has probably got more of a presence as a major city than Neverwinter does, and Waterdeep even, because Luskan was one of the first places that was settled by Ilusk, the Empire of Ilusk, and that would have a heavy Elven or Eladrin contingent that would be living there. So you could say that the events of history where the orcs wiped out previous civilizations in the Forgotten Realms wouldn't have had a correlation in the Feywild. So the progress of the civilizations along that sort of version of the Sword Coast would be different, because historically they wouldn't have been ransacked by hordes of orcs from the Spine of the World Mountains on a regular basis every 60 years or so. 60 years or 120 years or whatever it is. +1 curmudgeon. Oh, by the way, everybody should go and check out Tim Cask's Curmudgeon in the Dungeon YouTube channel, where he talks about like D&D history and stuff. He's actually very entertaining. So the Brule is like a slow Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, that eats you and is monstrous. Yeah. It's got spikes on its back and eyes. So yeah, it's not blue. It's not a hedgehog. It's not a cartoon character. It doesn't run at super speed. But other than that, yeah, perfect fit. Hey AJ, have you ever tried to cross over D&D with comics like Marvel or DC? No, I play a supers game if I want to play a Marvel or DC type thing. Heroes Unlimited is my go-to. Also Mutants and Masterminds. Would an axolotl be a type of lizard folk? No, it would be type of newt, or possibly a bullywug or gripply. Or an amphibifolk. Nice. Thanks, Morgan. Manshoon is a 40k Inquisitor. Yeah. Wow. He would be a deeply guarded secret of the Inquisition, that's for sure. A cloned human. Cloned human with psi powers. Actually, yeah, I suppose. If they were doing some sort of experiment to try and replicate psychically attuned individuals, trying to perfect it, yeah, a Manshoon type character could be the result. Salamander folk, yeah. I actually haven't checked out Taryn's dancer class yet, but I mean to. Taryn and I talk about other things when we're chatting on a regular basis. At the moment, he's composing some music for the Kickstarter for me, and he's going to be helping me out with layout and artwork and stuff like that. Hopefully. I imagine the Green Knight from King Arthur Myths and Legends is a Fey human or a Fey Lord. Could be. Are Beholder more powerful in the Feywild, since the Feywild is like a dream and Beholder creates stuff in their dreams? No. The Feywild is kind of inimical to the Beholders, because the Beholders' imagination runs out of control. And they are totally paranoid, so they would end up imagining things that would kill them. If that makes sense. Hey AJ, did you receive the Sith Lord? The what? Hey Adrenith, thank you. Speaking of power corrupting, I got an idea for a BBEG, bad guy, Lachey, whom starts his quest to fix his broken reality. His quest for allies warps into the hunt. With every Lachey he kills, it brings him closer to his goal. Oh, so he's like the one. Jet Li's the one, so he kills Lachey in order to bring about, like, they're the anchor points that are actually preventing his reality from coming back. That's a good idea. Interesting, because every Lachey would be a very, very hard target to hunt down and kill. It'd be harder than killing every dragon in the world, I imagine. How to keep a D&D campaign alive for more than 5 seasons. Sessions? Or seasons? If I had the answer to that, man, I'd be a wealthy dude. +1 Tim Cask. Hey, Jam the Use. If you get stuck in the Feywild, your whole family might be already dead after you escape. If you escape. Yeah, that's true. You can be stuck in the Feywild for a very long time. And you can actually forget that everything that happened to you in the Feywild. So you just like have this lost time of a couple of centuries where you come back and just everything has changed. I love Tim Cask's channel. I'm surprised how hilarious his tabletop stories are. Yeah, like these guys, man, the old school way of playing D&D. Lots of shits and giggles for sure. And like they just played what they want to play. They would chop and change the rules to suit, you know. Yeah, Tim Cask is living old school D&D. He is the old school. I don't have an aquarium moon ring. I've got a fish pond outside. That would be a brine shrimp tank, right? Or are they freshwater shrimp? Does D&D have a Green Knight equivalent? I would say a cross-class druid fighter, maybe. I don't know. Is there such a thing as a Fey Ranger? A druid paladin? Sorry, DeForest, what was the question? How far back was this? I can't see it, dude. You have to repeat. Thanks, Adrianeth. I'm thinking more of a Krugian one in Highlander. Oh, the Kurgan. Yeah. There can be only one. Sorry for the misselling. The typos. Yeah, dwarves would probably hate the Feywild. That's true. +1 wild lettuce. They ban all cloning in the Imperium other than a few very specific programs. Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of the fun of Warhammer 40k. You can throw stuff in that's like that shouldn't exist. Stanchgate. Could a Rift's Earth true Atlantean end up in Faerun, and would their magic and psi powers work? Yeah. Essentially, they would just be like a sorcerer. Greater Restoration will return memories. What? For people who have been in the Feywild? Is that canon? Tim Cask. C-A-S-K. Tim Cask. Curmudgeon in the dungeon. Or curmudgeon in the cellar? Curmudgeon in the dungeon. Hey, Wit. Oh, thanks, Matthew. Is it just me, or has the Feywild just become Wonderland from the original Canterbury Tales? Oh, dude, I can't read the Canterbury Tales. I can't read that English. It's terrible. I find it painful to read the Canterbury Tales. So I just gave up. It's like trying to read Trainspotting, the novels Trainspotting. Oh, really hard to read. Nobody expects the Illithid Inquisition. True. Curmudgeon in the dungeon. Darkest Dungeon is literally something that transfers to 5th edition or 4th edition more accurately. 1,000 gold per week for downtime. Pretty close. Tash has added a Fey Ranger. Right. Green Knight is a cleric, can't be a druid due to armor limitations. Well, I mean, if you want to stick to, like, they're a knight sort of thing that wears plate armor. But don't forget you can get wooden armor. Like the wood of Yggdrasil, for instance. And there's hardwoods in the Forgotten Realms that are almost as strong as metal. People are starting to make me think there needs to be a Fey Paladin, Oath of the Green Knight. Yeah. Mind Flayers can absolutely survive in the Feywild. Yeah, it's true. Crossover of D&D with comics. Like, Mind Flayers quite often use bioengineering to manipulate living organisms. So the Feywild is absolutely chock full of living organisms. So they'd find it even easier to create weird contraptions of, mutated things. Particularly, the difficulty with the Mind Flayers, though, is that they would have to wrap their psychic brain around the fact that story is part of the physics of the Feywild, right? And, of course, they would be possibly manipulated and changed by it. So they could end up being like frog princes or something. Like, you know what I mean? They might actually end up being fundamentally changed by the Feywild if they live there long enough. So they become storybook things. Like, troll kings and stuff like that. Hey, Alexandre. Hello, Portugal. There's a new comic out this month called The Bequest out on Aftershock Comics. Okay. Kirk, that's funny as hell. If I throw 3 Viagra into a gelatinous cube, do I end up with a 6-sided die? Because of the sharp, rigid corners, is that what you're talking about? Walk softly and carry a big gun. Cass and Vector chasing themselves around. Yeah, like Tom and Jerry. Hey, Juju Bear. No, you're not too late. I've heard that creatures from Pokemon translate surprisingly well into D&D. Is that true? Yeah, man. You can adapt any sort of creature into Dungeons and Dragons. For sure. Why not? The Green Knight was portrayed with metal armor covered in constantly growing vines. Fine. It's a Warforged druid. There you go. Because you can be a Warforged and a druid, and Warforged have metal. So, there you go. Phaelithid. Kill it with fire. What if you're like an octopus fairy? Like you're a marine fairy of some kind? we don't talk about the marine Feywild, do we? Right? What about the Fey mermaids? Stuff like that. Merfolk. Robert, who is smarter, Mordenkainen Acererak or Halaster Blackcloak? If you get Halaster Blackcloak away from under the Undermountain, his madness subsides and he actually goes back to being a Imaskari wizard. And he's extremely smart. Mordenkainen is an arc wizard, so he's also extremely smart. Acererak is a lich who's been around for centuries as well. So they're all very, very smart. The answer is, I don't know. They're all on an equal footing as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. Their stats probably vary. Hey, Moonring. Exodarchitals are Feywild mind flayers. If you like. They've certainly changed a bit. They've lost some weight. Have they been working out? Have I done a video on Limbo? No, I don't think so. Yeah, there is some Aztec mythology in D&D in the old Faiths and Legend lore, I think it is. Where did I leave it? I just had it out the other day. Legend lore, where are you? Where did I put you? I think I'll actually have that in another room. I'm not searching for books anymore on stream. It's too embarrassing. Thanks, Tia. You gotta get back to your Dark Souls run. I appreciate your presence, Tia. That's all that's required. Good luck with your Dark Souls. Wash your hands with soap. You've been writing a game based around Aztec mythology, actually. Good. Good luck with those pronunciations, man. Far out. Please, if you are going to write a RPG or a source book or something like that and publish it, make sure that you, first of all, just pay due respect to the source material and the culture that's behind it, because there's living descendants of the people of the Aztec Empire. And also, please put in a phonetic spelling, pronunciation guide for the words that are in there, just for my own sake. If I end up reviewing it or something like that, please. Aztec mythology is Lovecraftian as all heck. Tell me more. Oh yeah, the wooden Cyberman from Doctor Who. What's up with the lab cloak? Cletus, I actually explained this earlier on. This is I'm preparing to lab test all of the sample products for my Kickstarter that are coming to me from China right now. They're in the breeze right now as we speak. So particularly I'm going to be subjecting the members of my YouTube channel particularly to some previews of the Kickstarter stuff. And possibly on Patreon as well, some members only previews of the Kickstarter stuff. And while I'm testing it out and filming and things like that, I'll be showing people what's going on behind the scenes. Thanks, Moonring. Can you do a video on Wingless Wonder from 2nd edition? I can certainly put it down for a look-see. Excuse me while I write it in the list. It's like new year, new list. Kitty Bree's. Glad you asked, Ite. Kitty Bree has been spayed, so she is on medication that I administer. This is another reason for the lab coat. I'm administering medicine to my cat. She's taking it like a trooper. I swear she's been a cat before, man. Like, she automatically cat trained herself. She didn't even react to putting a collar on her for the first time. I mean, this is just unheard of cat behavior. And she's just like, oh yeah, here I am at the vet. She's a little bit unhappy about traveling in a car, but once you get her somewhere, she's quiet as a mouse. And she came home, limped around a bit and just slept all day. And yeah, she's pretty much fine. I just, administer her pain medication midday, and she's good to go. She's just not jumping up on things as much as she was at the moment while she heals. So yeah, she's doing well. Dank Souls is some good alternate King Arthur. Nice. Do a video on Cass and Vector and their petty rivalry. No, I'm not catering to your Tom and Jerry antics stuff. What's your favourite Theros god? I don't have one. I need to read through Theros. There's like so much material for me to like. I have trouble onboarding the newest material, so I'm going to be slow to get get to the new releases shelf. You'll have to forgive me. There's so much old material that I need to bring into 5th edition. Wolverine in D&D. Yeah, you could have something like that. Let's see. Ring of Regeneration. How would you do Tiger Claws? Tiger Claw weapon, I suppose. Some sort of retractable blade. He's also got heightened senses, so that would be various enchantments. Yeah, it'd be quite easy to play a Wolverine type character. Show us its features. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing, Gerald. I'll definitely be putting pronunciation guides into the book and always try to stay true to the original myths and the culture. Excellent. That is all you can ask for, Juju Bear. Grim, I also love this community. The most intelligent mortal being is probably an aboleth, the wisest of gold dragons, and the smartest a halfling, because they know you can be smart without being the most intelligent or wise. Yeah, I'll go with that, just because you're like complimenting my people. History of Amaskar Part 2. Yeah, it's on its way. Everyone chill out. I'm a scientist. Back off, man. I'm a scientist. I actually kind of am. Lysander, yes, unfortunately you are quite late. We are almost about to wrap up the stream. It was a bit early this stream, but I like to vary it a little bit so that people who miss it in other times can catch one. Elves break everything. It's true, James. Thanks, MacGyver. Hello, AJ. It's been a while since I caught you live. Just wanted to thank you for being a great source of inspiration. You're most welcome. I look forward to Giant Dragon updates sometime after the game comes out when you can. After the game comes out when you can. What game? Oh, yeah. So this is Frost Giant script right here. So we're getting started back into the Giants again. So yay! I had fun writing about the Frost Giants. Frost Giants for me are like I have a deep understanding of the Frost Giants. I could observe the Frost Giants like David Attenborough. I wouldn't go and stay in a Frost Giant steading, for sure. Like the meal times for instance, were just I couldn't stomach them eating live cows and things. But yeah, they're an interesting culture. I sum it up right from the very start, which is where did I say it? Frost Giants are best described as giant evil Vikings. If that's all you can take away from this video, it's pretty much fine. That's fine. Wolverine, a D&D shifter with Neocot? Nyarlathotep is bad. Hey, Psycho Time. Yes, that's true. You have made a live stream. Congratulations. Science. It's science. Science. There's a Nyarlathotep anime. It's an abomination. Don't watch it. Okay. Guaranteed, I can comply 100%. Did you play Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver? No. Ooh, that's a good question, Adrianeth. For science, what is your favorite super scientist? Okay, in real life, it would be Tesla, closely followed by probably Elon Musk. He's a hell of a lot smarter than people think he is. Tesla would be right up there, interesting, because like Tesla would, like when you think about modern day, right? And no, I'm not even going to go there. Tesla would be, I think, well served by the modern era. I should talk about Psionics. No, I'll just telepathically tell you about Psionics. As for fictional super scientists, Frankenstein would be right up there with my list of cool super scientists. A fantasy version of Leonardo da Vinci, where he's like, you know, because he, like, was it him? He not only did the like flying machines and things like that, but I think it was either him or some other Renaissance person who did like they did autopsies on bodies to try and figure out body structure and stuff. So yeah, back in the day it would have been cool to be a super scientist because you're just basically doing whatever you want, sneaking around doing backroom autopsies, dissections of corpses. Ruby, I'll tell you what I do use to edit my videos, but I'm going to tell you right now there's better options. I use, for the audio, I use Audacity, and for video editing I use VideoPad Video Editor, but I don't recommend it because they are greedy, and every single time you update you have to like relicense the software and stuff, and they're bastards to work with. And it doesn't have all of the features that like some free stuff does. It's just that I'm used to using it. I should really use something else, but yeah, there are much better options. Much better options. I would say go with Adobe like software for doing video editing and stuff. If you can learn Adobe and all of their design suite stuff, they have way more features. Like Adobe really is probably worth what you pay for it. The problem with me and Adobe is that not only have I always objected to Adobe's pricing structure and the way that they basically just, they're like, you know, trying to turn you into an Adobe junkie basically. Like you have to pay through the nose. I like paying for software and having the software and owning the software and just using the software, right? And not changing it. If it works, don't fix it. Like I don't need constant updates and things. And I certainly hate the idea of subscription software. I loathe the idea of subscription software. So that's why I've never really got into Adobe. And now, unfortunately, because I haven't got into Adobe earlier on, I'm working every day on scripts and things like that. I don't have time to sit down and like do a Bill and Ted montage, learn the guitar sort of thing. I would love to take a weekend, you know, a week off and go and do a course somewhere at a community center and learn Adobe from the ground up. That would probably serve me great, but unfortunately it's just not going to happen anytime soon. So I'd say if you're starting out with video editing and stuff, get into Adobe. It's probably much better. Got a favorite Tesla conspiracy theory? No, I don't. Oh, that was Leonardo? Good. Yeah. Reaper is great for audio and free. Yeah, Audacity is fantastic too. Like, it really is quite good. Mainly because it's sort of open source, so there's all sorts of plugins and stuff that you can get for Audacity. But the stuff that's built into it is really great for just like simple, podcasty type editing and stuff. My audio has improved over the years, mainly through experience, not software. I've never actually played Shadowrun. I've read through a few of the supplements and stuff, but I've never had a team get together and actually play Shadowrun. A lot of people who, like, I used to do a lot of writing for cyberpunk type stuff that was in D&D Rifts, like a lot of cybernetics and things, and for Heroes Unlimited as well. And a lot of people were like, man, you should absolutely be playing cyberpunk like type games. But like Shadowrun, but no, I never did. Aaron Big, I'm good, thanks. Thanks, Uviel Pearl. Do you have any free recommendations? The software that comes with like Windows is actually pretty good. But no, because I don't use them, I can't really recommend them. I like to recommend stuff that I have experience with. So because I haven't used a lot of other free stuff, I'm not really up to date on it, so I can't give you good advice there. I recommend looking at like YouTube videos and things like that, which are usually pretty honest about which software and stuff you can use. Twitch streamers are pretty good with their video editing advice. They're pretty onto it. A lot of YouTubers are a little bit behind the times. Twitch streamers seem to be very tech orientated. I'm in the Illuminati. No, I'm in the Gluminati. Much better. Feels like Leonardo did literally everything. Well, he had to keep busy. You already have Audacity? Fantastic. I try to keep abreast of quite a few different YouTube channels, but yeah, it's hard to keep up with them. Well, it's time to say goodbye, everybody. Particularly because I've got a spammy dude who is in the chat right now who's getting all of his messages blocked. Let's see. Bam. That's how fast that's how long it takes me to block somebody forever. Sarah. Wow, I haven't had to do that ever on the chat, I don't think. Sarah, thank you. What interesting fruits and vegetables exist in D&D? There's quite a few, like particularly faerun has got a lot of listed like strange things. Not so much fruits and vegetables, actually. A lot of berries and herbs and things like that, and woods and stuff, but fruits and vegetables. No, I can't remember reading much about that. Strange wines and things, yeah. Fruit's difficult to transport long distances in Forgotten Realms, so you're probably going to get like preserved fruits and things more likely. Hey, Moonring. Do you think exodacial mummies could work? Whoa, they would have some totally different sort of technology, but I'd imagine the same principle applies, where the wrappings are basically like a lich phylactery that trap the soul and also bind it to come back to life and do stuff. But they don't have a lot of undead. Like, even their vampire nobility are not undead, technically. Okay, everybody. No, Justin, you're not blocked. No, it was some idiot named Leroy Diddy who was spamming the chat with stuff that you guys didn't see. The Depot Masquerade have a tree that makes water. Really? I know that Wildmount has some information on fantasy food. Yeah, there's Aurora's Whole Realms catalogue, Forgotten Realms catalogue, and there's articles by Ed Greenwood, which have got a lot of like stuff. But yeah, also check out the D&D, like the Forgotten Realms wiki for stuff like that, which probably has got more information. Hey, thanks, Stephen. Give Kittybury cuddles and treats for me. I'm not so much cuddles at the moment. Gentle pats, and I'll give her a dried salmon for you. Leroy's a flat earther. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, catch you later, everybody.